Howdy folks, this is Zack Schnepf with photocascadia.com, and today I'm going to give you a preview of a video I'm working on called Advanced Selections and Masking. So I'll be talking about different types of selections and how those are used with masking to help target and make very selective changes or targeted changes to an image. This is a good example of a selection-based mask. This is a very sophisticated mask. You can see it's highly detailed. It's got a great transition zone built around this particular C-stack. And so this is built to help isolate the C-stack. So if I option click off this mask, you can see if I toggle this adjustment layer, there's being a very targeted change to just that C-stack, and I'm just lightening up that particular C-stack. And so this mask allows me to do exactly that. It targets just this mask and makes that very targeted change. Now this is a different type of selection-based mask. It's called the luminosity mask. So this selection is based on the tonality of your image. So in this case, this is targeting the light tones of the image and making a change just to those light tones. So if I option click off this mask and we toggle this on and off, you can see I use this just to kind of richen up my light tones a little bit. And if I go over to my channels menu, you can see there's lots of different types of luminosity masks we can use. We have inverted luminosity masks that target the shadows instead of the highlights. And these are very handy when you want to open up shadows or just work within that tonality. I also use a lot of freehanding in my masking as well. And freehanding is really the most basic way of using a mask. So if I option click on this particular mask up here, you can see it's just a bunch of brush strokes. And this is how I started with masking, and most people probably start with masking. Problem with it, it's not very sophisticated and is not very targeted. So if I actually turn this on or toggle this on, you can see, I was trying to brush around the C-stack by hand, and you can see that there's some pretty dramatic haloing around the objects that you try to paint around if you're freehanding. So this is not the most sophisticated way to use a mask, but I still use a lot of freehanding to help even out transition zones and just for areas that don't need to be targeted as much. I also use a combination of a lot of these different techniques quite a bit. So here's an example of a mask where I used multiple techniques. I'm using a selection-based mask, and then I'm freehanding around the edge to help soften that effect and make it a more dynamic mask. You can see the effect of that. I was trying to even out the tonality of this particular C-stack, but I didn't want to make those trees too light so that they looked kind of funny against the sky. This particular mask is an inverted luminosity mask to target the shadows, combined with some freehand brushstrokes. I used these techniques so I could lighten the image without blowing out the highlights. If I toggle this on and off, you can see I'm able to lighten the image while preserving the highlights pretty well. These are just a few of the advanced selection and masking techniques I'll be talking about in my upcoming video. I'll be describing how to build these complex selections, how to use them with masks to help with multiple exposure blending, adjustment layers, and many, many others. Thank you very much.